So, the biggest bottleneck when it comes to online retail cracking your ad campaign setup is doing more instead of doing less. Let me break this down even on a concept that makes sense. So, when it comes to understanding algorithms, understanding machine learning platforms, every minute change week over week leads to an action that can inhibit results, right? The reason for this is because after a certain data point, after a certain number of events over a given period of time, after a certain amount of spend over a given period of time, well, then that machine learning platform can hit our desired KPI with what our end goal is, which 9 times out of 10 in online retail is conversions. So there's a huge methodology of media buying that goes into running stacked interest, running lookalike audiences, audience testing. Now, audience testing or these interest based tools were made 5 years ago on the Meta platform. They haven't been updated since. What Meta is shifting towards is going fully broad and allowing you to focus on the highest leverage activities when it comes to media buying and setting up campaigns, which is going to be your creatives, your offer, your landing page, your funnel, and even the product vertical or the AOV bundle you're trying to push. So, with that being said, here's how to simplify your ad account. Here's how to simplify data, and here's how to ultimately get your time back so that you're not spending hours inside the ad account every single day making minute changes, which inherently you're inhibiting the machine learning platform because every minor change is resetting the learning phase. So with that being said, here's the structure. I'm sure you guys have seen this before, but at a very, very high level, we have our main campaign. So for every product or every SKU we're pushing, we have that under one campaign. So for example, if I'm pushing a high AOV bundle that's selling um, a beauty product, which is like a curling iron coupled with like shampoo and conditioner, that bundle is going to be in this one single campaign. In this one single campaign, we're going to define what our destination is. Are we going to send these people to a collection page? Do we have a landing page already built out for this bundle? We're going to keep that inside the campaign. For every destination change we do want to change or we're trying to split test, we just create a separate campaign for that because it's a different funnel experience. So we want to make sure that's organized and it's way easier to analyze which funnel is performing better or which like landing page is performing better on the campaign level rather than if we were to do that at the ad set level. So a couple things we have inside the campaign, everything's in CBO. We break it down to 3 segments. So you have your main ad set. So this is going to host all the winning post IDs from our DCT dynamic creative test. So on a scale, we only want to have 1 or 2 DCTs active. Anything more than that, you're skewing data and you're not, like based off your budget, you're not getting enough data to each allocation. Now, what is a dynamic creative test? Simply put, a dynamic creative test is Meta's way of creative testing with ad copy testing while ultimately optimizing for the end user experience. So, for example, the what breaks down a DCT. So when we're testing one single concept, the concept could be okay for this bundle. We want to test the angle of before and after, right? And that's the whole concept. So we're going to have, let's say it's UGC. So we have these 3 ad creatives that are following the same concept, same content creator, but there's just minor tweaks in, let's say, the hook, the first 3 to 5 seconds of the video, to even the call to action, right? So we have like a 30-second clip, a 25-second clip here, and a 15-second clip that follows the same concept, same creator. We put that in a DCT. Now, when it comes to providing copy, what we're going to do is ultimately have the previous best ad copy, and then we're going to develop some new ad copy. We're going to have the previous best winning headline. We're going to develop some new headlines. Now, what this does is in machine learning on the DCT level, we're testing 12 total combinations of all of this. And Meta's automatically doing that, and they're going to give the budget to what they think is best for the end user experience. So we're individually testing instead of manually ABO testing each creative one by one and allocating budget, which inherently you're wasting majority of your budget on losers. With this DCT test, we're capital efficient with our budget, we're conservative, and apart from that, we're working with the meta algorithm to ultimately find the best winning combinations that is best for the end user experience at a fraction of the price. So once we let this run, and let's say this DCT gets $500 in total ad spend within a 3 to 4 day window, and ultimately we have a winning combination, and we can break this down on the ads manager sector by you click on the tab breakdown and you break down by image, creative, and I think what video. You're able to see what individual combination of ad creative with copy works right now, and then from there what happens is you take that winning post ID, you host that into your main ad set. So your main ad set's going to host all of your winners from your DCT test, and ultimately at the CBO level what you're doing is just you're increasing budget by 5 to 20% every 2 to 3 days, just to increase the total lift of the ad account. Now, while that's happening, you have another DCT running. And ultimately, when you have all of these structures inside this one single campaign, what makes a winning DCT is something that gets majority of the spend. Because ultimately, Facebook's going to allocate budget to what they, as mentioned before, what they think is best for the end user experience. And ultimately, you're going to have one or two DCTs that get majority of the spend, and the other DCTs are not getting majority of the spend. And instead of us forcing spend across the active DCTs that are not receiving any budget, what we want to do is, instead of manually testing these creatives, Facebook's telling us this is the winning creative that's best for the end user experience. So now, instead of manually testing and spending budget, which is going to have higher CPMs because it's not tailored to the Facebook end user experience, our focus now shifts into creating more DCTs and more creatives that's going to outcompete what's already active and what's already winning on our current ad spend budget. Now, over a long-term horizon, what happens is ultimately you are developing concepts that improve and lift the total campaign every single time, because that's the nature of this campaign structure. We are focusing on objectives that move the needle for a business, which, as I always say this, it's going to be your creative, your offer, your landing page, and ultimately the bundle you're pushing or the product SKUs you're pushing together. Now, with this structure, we are automating all of the necessary ABO manually testing, and ultimately the lift in the total campaign over a 30-day period is going to be significant because we have the winning combinations, and when going fully broad, we have no lack or constraint of our TAM, our total addressable market. So with that being said, we reduce the amount of time spent in the ad account with this campaign structure. We're now focusing on the highest leverage activities, which over a 30-day window, we're going to see a lift in the total campaign performance because we're moving the needle with creatives, offers, landing page, so on and so forth. And thirdly, majority of our budget is going to what Facebook deems a winner in their eyes, and we're not spending majority of our budget on manually testing losers. So this structure in itself gets my time back, gets your media buyer's time back, and now you guys as an in-house team can now focus on the highest leverage activities. Now, with that being said, there's a heavy due diligence on, to an extent of, okay, optimizing a creative, ultimately split testing hooks, so on and so forth. But this can be done at the DCT level, which reduces the amount of time of actually manually testing and so on and so forth. So we've shifted, with my team and I as growth consultants, we shifted every single ad account model to this campaign structure, which I didn't come up with this. I didn't develop the strategy. I got it from his name's Professor Charlie. You can look him up on YouTube and Twitter. He developed this concept, but taking his input and applying it to what we're seeing in our ad accounts, we've seen a huge shift in performance. We're seeing better performance going fully broad, following this structure. We're seeing a reduction in the amount of time spent inside the ad account. And thirdly, as I covered before, we're focusing on highest leverage activity. So now I can take a generic founder who's never ran ads before. I can show them the structure, and they're becoming media buyers. I can take this structure and I can apply it across the board. Let's say if I'm training a media buyer, this structure is just so simple and so easy that anyone can automate this structure and learn it and apply it to their business and see lift in overall performance, in CPA, cost per purchase, so on and so forth. So that's my consensus on simplifying your ad account, how to scale on Meta, and ultimately the necessary action items so that you get your time back as a founder or a media buyer, and ultimately you're seeing better performance quarter after quarter. So if there's any questions or any feedback, drop them down below. If you're a D2C founder ready to build a house, you can download my 30-page protocol with the link in the description. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.